This episode is brought to you by our friends at Brookes Blooms, your all-in-one landscaping solution.
Brookes Blooms' three-step landscaping experience offers a seamless journey from design to construction and ongoing care, ensuring your outdoor space thrives year-round.
Visit brooksblooms.com today to embark on your landscaping journey, where every step is a step towards a vibrant and beautiful outdoor entertaining space.
G'day everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Ads and Dunks podcast. As always, brought to you by the American Aces. It's Dunks here, one of your hosts, and joining me on the line as always, me good mate, Adsy Treloar. How are you, mates?
I'm a bit peckish at the moment, but other than that, it's good to be on for another ep, mate. I'm excited.
Well, go and get some food, mate. We'll do some ASMR or whatever you call it, the stuff you love watching on YouTube.
I actually don't watch much of that anymore, to be honest with you.
I turned you off it.
Yeah, nah. It is a bit weird, isn't it? It is a little bit weird if you're watching people eat food.
It's so weird.
Well, I wouldn't say it's that weird if there's millions of people following particular people, but I guess it is a little bit weird. But no, mate, I can wait an hour to talk a little bit of shit with you and have a bit of fun.
Nah, I like it. How's your week been, mate? You were some big news before your game on the weekend, obviously the laid out, but how's it been other than that?
My week was good. I had a funny little story for you again. You know how last week someone called me John Noble? Believe it or not, it happened again this week. It wasn't John Noble this time. It was another Collingwood player, but it wasn't John Noble. I was at the RSL, actually heading to watch the VFL game on Sunday, and me and my great mate Cooper, we were just heading to the RSL, and this lady was lining up behind me, and she's like just sussing me out. I could just sense that she was really sussing me. And then she had this big smile on my face when I turned around. She's just looking at me, and she goes, "The goalie." And I was like, yeah, I just agreed with her. I was like, yeah, I am. She goes, "Oh, I could tell by the facial features." That's what she said. I was like, "Oh, thank you." And then I just walked off. So I've been called John Noble one week, and I've been called Jordan the Goal the other week. So, pretty funny week for me. But in all seriousness, I obviously you mentioned missing the game, which was a little bit of a laid out. But other than not playing, it was a really good weekend for us. It was a great result. So we'll touch on that obviously when we talk about our game. So it was a bit unique in not playing, but it was a good week. What about your week?
No, that's good, mate. My week, we went to Perth, so spent 3 nights of my week over there, which was what we normally do anyway. So we went over because it's a 6-hour flight from Brisbane, as we all know, and I've talked about on here before, but it's a long trip. So to get over there a couple of nights before the game, get into the time zone change and the difference over there, and it was a good couple of days. Didn't see family because our schedule didn't really allow me to, but caught up with them post game, and what was another good win for us too. So thoroughly enjoyed the week, mate. It's been good. Mum and Dad are still here, so they've been up for a week, and just cruising. So it's good. Life's good. Winning games of footy, and it's a nice place to be at the moment.
6 in a row. You guys are absolutely flying. Actually, I did actually have another funny story as well. I'm full of stories this weekend. I was sitting morning of the game actually with Cooper again. We were sitting down just up at the road at a cafe that we go to. We walked the dogs up there, and again, this lady walked up and she came up to me, and it wasn't really like the one where she was just staring at me. She actually just walked up and she goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry to disturb you, but I actually sat next to you and one of your mates at a Melbourne United game with my kids, and it was when you just got drafted to Collingwood." And so obviously I was thinking, obviously when I got traded to Collingwood, pretty cool. She goes, so I just went along with it. I was like, "Oh, yeah, I kind of remember." And then she goes, "Yeah, it's been pretty cool. You got a photo with my kids. We've been following your journey up until that stage. You'd never played a game. It was your first game. No one knew who you were. It was really cool to see you journey your way through to where you are now. So, yeah, well done." And I was like, "Okay, cool, thanks." And then she just walked inside. So she had no idea I played for the Giants. I'd already played 80 games by that stage, and it was probably my 5th year in the AFL. So it was quite funny. I've been called Jordan the Goalie, John Noble, and no one knows that I played for the GWS Giants. So it was pretty funny.
Geez, you're getting stitched up, mate. Maybe people are listening to this and doing it on purpose.
Well, one other. Remember last week on the episode, I told you about that fella at Southland who said Treloar baggers by 60. Well, you best believe, mate. Me and Cooper are going to be going to Southland for the rest of the week, and we're going to hopefully see that kid and just say g'day to him.
Just because he got it wrong, completely wrong.
He did. The boys played really well. But yeah, it was. You know what? I need an interaction where something like that happens to you.
Well, I don't really get out much, you know me, mate. I like to stay at home. So unless you're up here, I'm probably not the type to get out.
True, but with your networking skills, mate, you'd be in business meetings and all this stuff trying to plan your future, right?
Yeah. Speaking of, I'll give you a bit of an update on the real estate stuff. So I'm going to do some buyer's agent like work experience, which is going to be cool. And I'm starting that next week. So I have had a couple of little business meetings, mate. So working in that next week onwards, and then see how that goes. And getting out tomorrow night for tomorrow night for the State of Origin too. So keen as for that too. All
right, mate. Well, keep your phone on you because one of my other great mates, Casey Moores, is going to be up there. So he might have had a few beverages in him by that stage. So maybe steer clear of him. But that'll be exciting. Who's your tip? Actually, we actually have not spoken NRL much at all on our podcast, and that is very naive of us. Who's your tip for the game tomorrow?
I think Queensland will win. Being a home game, I think it's all set up for Queensland to win. And then New South Wales got a couple of key outs too. So I'm thinking Queensland are going to win potentially by about 10 to 15, I reckon.
I hope so. I hope it's a ripping game. The thing is, I went to the last game and obviously we all know the result, but mate, I left at half time and it was just, you know, the excitement of the game was kind of dead by 20 minutes into the game. So for the sake of Origin, I hope it's a ripping game. I'll be going for Queensland as you'll be, and I also think Queensland will win as well. So really looking forward to that. What do you reckon the crowd will be? It'd be a pretty sick atmosphere to be a part of.
It'll be packed. It'll be packed. I'm guarantee you right now, like it'll be pumping down there. Not far away from where I live, and Caxton Street, it'll be packed. It'll be locked off. Like no one will be able to get through there.
Everyone mentions Caxton Street. That's where obviously the post-game and pre-game celebrations are, aren't they?
Yeah, so Suncorp's like pretty much runs. So Caxton Street turns into, I think it's Latrobe Terrace, and then that road literally runs straight past Suncorp. So you just go, you can walk 50 metres to Suncorp from the Caxton Street. So I'm sure a lot of people will be doing that pre-game and getting down there and having a good time. And yeah, we'll just walk in sober and have a great time too.
There'll be a lot of people taking Thursday off and probably Friday and probably obviously Saturday and Sunday. So, it should be a ripping
guaranteed
game. It will be. Also, one last thing before we get into the footy. It was an amazing week for Kimmy. I mean, obviously she didn't. They didn't end on a good note. They obviously lost the game, but I think the love that she received from just the wider community of netball and even sport in general, it was pretty amazing. And you know, there was James O'Donnell was sitting next to me in the crowd when the game finished, and it was coincidentally 3/4 time in our game. So I was kind of sitting there watching, obviously the game finish and watching the speech. And Kim was obviously an emotional mess, and mate, I was kind of crying, and Jod noticed and was supporting me. So I appreciate that from a teammate point of view. But it was an amazing week, and you know, watching the amount of love and the outpouring that she got, I thought it was incredible. And you don't realise really, I guess, the impact that an individual has on just the sport and the players until probably after, you know, all the love and all the mentions come throughout the week. And yeah, you didn't realise the amount of people that actually love and support her. And what a tremendous career.
Absolutely, mate. Couldn't have said it better. I was going to ask you last week, but I didn't because I forgot. What's plans now? Like, does Kim move down to Melbourne with you? What are you thinking for the rest of the? Because now she's obviously retired, and you've got little Georgie. What's your plans?
She'll definitely come down here. I mean, I like to spend most of my off season up in Queensland when I'm done anyway, and I don't want to be too far away from you because it's the time where I can catch up with you and spend most of my days with you. So I love how my off season's planned around seeing Kim, Georgie, and Josh. So yeah, obviously we'll spend my time up there quite a bit, and Kim loves getting up to Queensland. Obviously she's got family up there, but I think from obviously career point of view, she obviously has a few things that, I'm not entirely sure that she wants to get into, but there'll be some plans there. From my point of view, obviously still playing footy. So, yeah, she'll just be here down in Melbourne. It'd be pretty cool because we haven't been together for, living together for a while now. And the fact that I get to be around Georgie and, I've missed a fair chunk of her, childhood growing up already. When I say that, I mean, I've been well and truly a part of it, just not being there in person. Which has been a bit of a challenge at times. But, yeah, really looking forward to that. I can't wait to, bring Georgie into the club and, take her to school when she goes to school, which will be either next year or the year after, get her around all the footy boys. And, my 250th is in a couple of weeks, which was going to be in Sydney. Now, hopefully, knock on wood, I'll play and I don't have any setbacks, but the game will now be in Melbourne. So it'd be pretty cool to watch her run out through the banner. Hopefully not scared this time because last time she absolutely shit herself when Wolf or the dog was near her and all the fireworks went off. I know you remember that because the only other person she was willing to hug was you. But, yeah, really looking forward just to being together as a family and, seeing Georgie, more than what I can now. So it's good.
I'm sure you are, mate. Speaking of Kim, State of Origin, we actually had a pretty special like on one of our posts. You sent it to me during the day. You said Latrell Mitchell liked one of our posts this week about Kim. So thanks to him, we've got another supporter of the potty.
We did. And I'm going to put Kimmy on the spot here. She sent me a photo saying, "You're welcome," with laughing faces. And it's the actual video of of us giving Kim a bit of love. And it's had essentially 100K views. So thanks, Kimmy. Appreciate that. If it gets the podcast out there, we greatly appreciate it.
I love it. Moving on, let's talk about footy. So we'll go to your game first because that was first on the calendar on Saturday. Talk to us about the laid out. Talk to us about your experience, what you went through, what you were feeling in the day of the game, and what led to that laid out being called.
Oh yeah, obviously calf was reported, and it was calf. I had a tight calf going in, and historically I'd probably try and push through it. Which a lot of the times hasn't ended well for me. I know one time, probably the last time I played going into a game, doubting myself and worrying about my body was probably 2022. I think we played Melbourne at Marvel, and I actually strained my calf in the last quarter, and I was worried going into the game. So that was my fault. I own that. I shouldn't have really put my hand up. So I kind of had that in the back of my mind, and I just didn't feel right. And I got to the game, and I warmed up, and got strapped, and went out there and did the second warm up, which is generally once you finish that, you're ready to rock and roll because that's 20 minutes before the game. And I just come in, and I was just still doubting myself. I just had a bit of tightness through the calf, and I just didn't want to. Firstly, I didn't want to let the teammates down. I mean, if you declare yourself fit, you don't want to. You've obviously been through this as well. You don't want to put yourself out there and look like a fool or let your teammates down or do something that's not going to be beneficial to the team. And that was my biggest worry. And as I said, I just felt like because I was doubting myself, I just couldn't get out there and play and let them down. So, ultimately, 20 minutes before the game, had a quick chat to Bevo and the physios and Lady, the line coach, and just ultimately decided to call it and just be, just don't play. Let's look after your body and don't risk it. So that's what happened. It was pretty unique. First time I'd actually pulled out right before a game. So it was quite unique for me. The game itself was a great result and very happy the boys won.
Yeah, it was a great result. Cripper's 200th, so the Blues would have been up and about, and your boys managed to weather the storm. I didn't get to see all of it, but I got to see that last quarter especially, and thought it was a very impressive effort from guys that I'm going to mention Westy later, but he's my give some love player this week. I think he really stood up in those moments and embraced the challenge of playing against a really good opposition, and Jamara as well. I think those two guys were really important for you boys. But what did you see as a fan watching on Saturday afternoon?
Oh, best believe, mate, it was hard watching. I mean, I suck at watching my teams play. Well, no matter what sport it is, so you can only imagine the team that I play for, what it's like. In that third and fourth quarter in particular, where it looked like we were going to run away with it, and they'd come back, and it was just back and forth. It was tough to watch because I wanted to be out there, but I couldn't be more prouder of the guys. I mean, unfortunately, it's kind of the story of our season so far where, we have a bad loss and then we bounce back and have a really good win, which, you never want to be known as a team that has one good game, one bad game, one good game. So hopefully this is, we've clearly reviewed this game, as in a game where we can always look to and be like, that's how we want to play. That's the kind of footy we want to play. I mean, personnel-wise, we have players like, obviously I didn't play and Naughty didn't play, Liam Jones didn't play, some really important players, James Harms, these guys that aren't playing that would probably be right there in the side, best 22. So the fact that the guys are able to go out there and play in the way they played and trust the system, it shows that it doesn't really matter who's playing, that we can get it done. And that was the most pleasing thing. I mean, you mentioned Westy, was clearly one of the top 2 or 3 players of the day. Mara really had a enormous impact on both sides of the ball. I think his defensive side was, really stood out to me. I mean, you watch the game from a different lens when you're in the system and you watch the defensive side. I felt like he was unbelievable. Bailey Dale, I mean, he, I feel like he's back to his best. He's playing some really good footy where he was All-Australian 2 years ago, I think. So, back to his best footy, so damaging off half-back. It was just a really good game. I mean, you even look at the numbers, which I'm not a numbers man. This is the first time I'm actually looking at the numbers. Even the inside mids, I felt like, it was a real wrestle in there, but in the end, we ended up getting on top off the back of our pressure and want and willingness to really hunt and defend. And from a numbers point of view, in terms of pure disposals, like our main insiders, which were Bont, Libber and Ed, obviously weren't high possession getters, but it goes to show you don't have to be to have a really big impact on the game. And I felt like, our mids towards the end of the game and throwing in, obviously big Timmy English as well, who was, unreal as well. I mean, it was a really, really good performance and one that, I couldn't be more proud of the guys. Probably up there as one of the most proudest I've been watching the boys play.
Yeah, it was a very, very inspirational win. It goes to show, from what I took out of it, is that the guys that have come in to replace, the likes that you mentioned earlier and yourself, it goes to show that what's been going on at the club in the development space is really good. We've had those issues, I guess, this year with injury and whatnot, and you get guys coming in and they're playing their role, and that's all you need them to do. And it just goes a long way in helping drive that message to the younger group too, the ones that aren't getting an opportunity, that are still there and still chipping away, that, hey, if you do get an opportunity and you play your role, well, you'll stay in the team. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens from now on.
You're right. And I guess it's worth mentioning as well, you never want to be a team, like you want to be a system-based team. So teams that have a system and it doesn't matter who's playing. If they're playing, they know how we want to play, and that footy will lead us to hopefully wins. And, I think Collingwood's a perfect example. Clearly last year they had players late towards the end of the year that came out in, and obviously Dan McStay was a big out. Taylor Adams towards the end of the year came out, and these are, bona fide best 22 players. So, you look at those guys who come in and have, those teams, when they're a system-based method team, you like to think no matter who's playing, they come in and get the job done. So you are right. Those guys have come in and played and, play a big role. And again, worth mentioning Buku and Lobby another week down as a defender. I know obviously Charlie Curnow kicked 3 goals, 7, but I think Books had a really big role, played a really big role in him. Lobby was, again, exceptional in the air, and these guys don't have too much experience playing together. So, it was a very pleasing game.
Yeah, very good. We'll move on to mine. Ours. Yep. Over in Perth, as I talked about, played against the Eagles, who, mate, we knew that they were going to come out, and we talked about it on here last week, with a lot of emotion after Simo departing the club. And it was pretty cool, to be honest, like to be there and warming up and listening to Simo talk over this. You couldn't help. Like we're trying to do centre bounce, and Simo's talking on the speaker, and then they all cheer because he finishes talking, and then they do it again and just keeps repeating. You're like trying to talk to each other, practice, centre bounce or throw-ins or ball-ups or whatever it is. And it's just all loud and noisy. You know what Optus is like when it's up and about too. So it was pretty cool. It was a very, very nice experience, and I'm glad that, he went out the way that he did because of the respect they showed him on game day, and obviously he's got so much respect from the footy club and the wider community too. So that was a cool experience. I thought we started the game quite well. we would sort of the disappointing thing was that we couldn't really run away with it when we got our opportunities. I feel like we'd get 3 goals up and then they'd get one back, and then we'd kick 2 and then they'd get one back, and just little momentum stings throughout the game cost us a bigger sort of margin. But I highly respect the players that they've got in their team, and I don't think they're as bad as what their ladder position shows either. They've got some premiership players still in that team. You look at the midfield, like Yo, Kelly, Reed, like 3 players that can take it up to anyone. So I just thought it was a great effort from our boys. As I mentioned, it's a long trip, big trip for us to go over there and get the job done. So it was nice to get the 4 points.
Yeah, and I agree. Watching that game, I watched that whole game pretty much. Again, not when you kicked a goal though. Last week I missed a goal, and then this week I missed a goal as well. And I
maybe stop watching, mate, and I might kick more goals.
Pretty much, yeah, true. I pretty much watched the whole game, and I missed both times. So I went back and rewatched it. A nice little soccer goal, mate. But yeah, you are right. I mean, I feel like, give it another preseason, another year for the Eagles obviously preseason training, and once they get a new coach in, they're going to be a very, very good side, and playing them over in Perth is going to be a bit of a fortress for them. So you are right in that regard. But, in saying that, you guys are clearly flying at the moment. What are you, 6 and you've won your last 6, I think, 6 or 7 maybe. So you're clearly in fine form. It just must be pleasing being able to, come up against different sides, being able to travel. It's not like you've had an easy run to these last 6 games where you've won the 6 games. It's clearly been challenges each week, but you must be pleased with the way that you boys are going.
Yeah, very pleased at the moment. I mean, we're probably not playing our best footy, but we're still playing good enough footy to win. And that's the most impressive thing from my point of view. I feel like that gives you so much confidence. Like we still... Yeah. After this game and after Adelaide and after Melbourne, there's still so many things that we want to improve and want to get better at. So that, in my mind, just gives me so much confidence throughout the week and on weekends when we come up against anyone that, our best is capable. And if we can get to our best, then hopefully that, worries the competition or the rest of the competition. And, it is a nice place to be in at the moment. But, yeah. Just got to keep it rolling and keep doing the little things we've been doing all year.
Yeah, and I think, you said worries the competition. Trust me, mate, it well and truly does worry the competition. I think everyone's kind of on edge already now when they know they're coming up against you boys because, as I said, you guys are flying at the moment. Lockie Neal's probably in Brownlow medal form yet again. He had another ripping game. And obviously this week is probably going to be a real true challenge again for you against the ladder leading Sydney Swans, which is going to be exciting. So well done on the game. Last question about your game. What has happened to your face? Because if you slightly turn to your left, I think, you've got some nice little scratches on and your hand. What have you been doing, mate? That can't be from the footy field. What have you done?
No, mate, this is from the footy field. Trust me. It was me and Harley Reid were clearly going at it at stoppages. No, it was just a bit of I don't know, bit of battle scars, mate. Why not? The bark on the nose, that's got me. It's sticking right out at the camera. So hopefully not many people watching on YouTube this week.
Oh, well, trust me, mate, it doesn't impact your looks. If anything, it probably makes you look a little bit better. Actually, I did want to ask you something else from the West Coast game. Did you notice, you mentioned Harley Reid, like was there a play where, you thought, oh, yeah, he's going to be a freaking superstar, like a play where he might have burst from stoppage or just shown his power or whatever it may be? Because I had moments when I played him against him where he did that.
Yeah, there were times where he'd take on tackles. Like one of the most impressive ones, and he didn't actually get the ball. We won the clearance, so it went inside our 50, and then they got a mock or they got an intercept mark, and they started switching the ball, and he's taken off to the full forward. And I'm like, shit, I've got to get on my bike here. I'm like sprinting trying to catch him, bro, and I was getting nowhere near him. So luckily a few of the boys ended up, slowing the play down a bit. I could actually get to him. But it showed to me that he's got that, running ability, that running power. When he wants to go, he can go. That was one moment that stood out to me that I was like, yep, if he wants to, he's got all the ability.
Yep. No, I agree. He's going to be a superstar, as we mentioned before. Well, that finishes with our games. I mean, there's clearly some talking points from the round. and I'll let you be the man with the talking points because that's what you do.
No, I think we should talk about it, though. It's a very important one this week and highly topical, I'm sure. But what are your thoughts on the suspensions? Personally, I'll just start off because I feel sorry for the umpires. I know we stick up for the umpires a little bit on here, and it's hard to judge the game when so many things are changing weekly, games, like game by game. It's crazy. But back to the tackling, I think, yeah, it's such a strange one at the moment. I had a presser today and I talked about it, being we as players, we run out there and we expect, well, we don't expect to get injured, but you know in the back of your mind you could get injured. Like you could get concussed next week. You know that. You could hurt your leg. You could do an ankle. You could, sprain an elbow. Anything can happen to you. And sometimes I feel like it's luck of the draw. So if you tackle someone and they get concussed, and it's luck of the draw, it's a perfect tackle. How does that mean that you should be out for 3 weeks because of it? If you're not actually trying to hurt the person, you know what I mean? It's just hard. Yep. It's hard.
How do you feel as someone? I mean, you can ask me because I do lay tackles occasionally, but obviously coming from someone who's a big tackler in the game, how does that make you feel though? What's your feelings now, like knowing that you lay quite a few tackles in a game and you're aggressive with your tackling?
Well, remember weeks ago when I had that tackle against St Kilda, Windhager, straight away, as soon as he called a dangerous tackle. But as soon as he called dangerous tackle, I thought as a player, I'm done. I'm gone. I'm going to have a week off next week because of the commentary around the tackling. But what I thought was a perfect tackle to the umpire was a dangerous tackle. So then the public perception is, he's going to get a week. So I just worry that, as a player that likes to tackle, guys are now going to hold back a little bit, and it's going to take a little bit of our authenticity away from the game. Like we've been, it's a very physical game. Anyone that watches the game, we go to America and we ask people to watch AFL. They're like, geez, you guys hit hard. Like no pads, like it's crazy.
Good accent,
360
mate.
degrees. Like everyone knows our game for its physicality, and we're going to lose that if we keep going down this path.
Yeah, agreed.
And that's just my opinion, mate. But yeah, I feel sorry for, everyone really, because it's a bit grey at the moment.
It's almost like we're punishing the outcome rather than the actual action. So anyway, it is a big grey area at the moment. And as you and I stress, and we have stressed, and the AFL clearly, like I agree in looking after the player. You've got to look after the player. That's the priority.
Oh, 100%.
That's where we're going with the sport and the tackling. It's just sometimes it's just so hard because it could happen to, anybody. And it could be a star player who everyone wants to come and watch play, who then ends up, Charlie Cameron, for instance, he's a superstar of the comp and everyone loves watching him, one of the most exciting players in the competition, and, go watch what he does. And it's just like, is that fair or whatever? So, yeah, it is interesting. It's going to be always a talking point. There's going to be weeks where it happens again and again and again. So it's interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see what obviously both the clubs do, because I think they've both come out and said they're going to probably fight the charge and see what happens. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I think Charlie's is on actually right now, so Brady will be able to give us a live update when we're done. But I've got a question for you regarding this, right? And it's probably when you talk about the head, it's a different thing. But say you get tackled and you break a leg in that tackle. I know the head's obviously more important, but it's breaking a leg. That's still career ending. That's still it could be career ending, the extent of it. So if you twist someone in the tackle and you say you hip drop like they do in the NRL and you break someone's leg, but it's considered a good tackle because you haven't concussed them, but you're actually putting him out for 12 months potentially.
Longer, yeah. So that's the grey area. It's like, why is it head versus leg? Oh, why it's head versus leg, because clearly long-term effects. But yeah, mate, I know. I reckon these are conversations that are being had.
Yeah, it's interesting. Because
as you said, the hip drop tackle in the NRL is clearly a thing that's getting pushed now. And obviously, I know you watch a lot of NRL, so that hip drop tackle, players are getting sin-binned and whatnot. It's not really suspension, but they're getting sin-binned for it, which is a big punishment because you're down to obviously 10 men. It is like that. It's like, when's it? Yeah, it's just like, what the heck? You just don't know. You just don't know what the fine is. You don't know what a good tackle is. All you know is you've got to look after the player and you've got to protect the player. So it has been a big talking point, and it's going to be, as I said, a big talking point for weeks and weeks to come. It'll probably always be a talking point now.
Yep, I agree.
We will see what happens. Anything else catch your eye for the round at all? Was there anything interesting that really happened? Not really. I mean, Hawthorn had a great win. As we say, mate, they're a scary prospect to play. Like they've got an exciting. It's gonna be interesting to see this battle for the top 8. They're, if they play in Tassie or play in Melbourne, you almost chalk them down as a win.
Yep. This week's a big game for the Hawks. I feel they're playing Collingwood, who are some would say not going so well at the moment, but that's going to be a massive game in the MCG, I reckon.
We may as well preview the games unless you got anything else to chat about from the week that happened.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's preview it.
Let's do it. And I already know you got a perfect score, so well done. I'm officially waving the white flag when it comes to tipping because I'm not going to win, which sucks. But all good. All good. We move forward, mate. That's what we do. We'll
stay positive, mate.
I'll stay positive. I'm genuinely just going to go opposite to everything you do. I really need a win here. We've got Friday night, Essendon versus Adelaide at Marvel Stadium, which is a big game for Essendon.
Yes, it is. And I saw someone, I think it commented on something, and it was like getting into me because I've never tipped Essendon all year.
Really?
But I'm going to tip. Yeah, apparently I haven't tipped Essendon all year. Like they just think that, it was a chance to go there a couple of years ago, and now I just dislike them that much. I don't tip them. It was something like that.
So you're going to tip him, or are you just going to keep riding that train of not tipping him?
No, I'll tip him this week. I'll tip him this week at Marvel Stadium against the Crows.
It is a big game because Adelaide are playing some good footy. I mean, I think they've won their last 2 in a row, have they? I think they have. So that's a big game. I'm going to go Adelaide. Saturday afternoon, 1:45, GWS versus Gold Coast, which, for what it's worth, have the craziest home and away record. They're 0-9 at home. 9-0 at home and 0-7 away.
Incredible.
So, it is incredible. GWS Gold Coast. Who you got?
I'm going to tip the Suns. I think they're going to break the drought this week, and they're going to beat the Giants. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm happy with that because that's a tick to me. I'm going to tip GWS to beat them up there. So there's hopefully 1 point to me for the tip. The next game, Marvel Stadium, St Kilda versus West Coast.
I'll tip. Who am I going to tip? I actually might tip West Coast in this game.
Really?
I feel like they're going to beat a few teams on the way home. They played each other a few weeks ago, actually.
Yeah.
And it was very close at in Perth. So I'm going to tip West Coast. I feel like they're going to head in the right direction. A bit of a freshen up might help them too. So, I'm going to tip them.
Okay. Well, means I'm going St Kilda, but I do think St Kilda. I think they're starting to play some better, like a lot better footy. And, I'm tipping Saints. Another ripping game Saturday evening, Hawthorn versus Collingwood, the MCG. This is a beauty.
I'm actually going to tip the Hawks in this one.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this is. See, I would too. Again, I'm tipping Collingwood. I'm genuinely going opposite to you, but I do want to touch on the game as well. I think, this is a real true test for Hawthorn. I'm big fans. I think as you've said and I've said, we both think they're a very good side, a very, very dangerous team. And this is a real, real good test and a true test for them to see how they go against the reigning premiers. And it's going to be a beauty. And I do think Hawthorn will win, but I'm tipping Collingwood. So makes no sense, I know, but I need to beat you somehow. Our game is next, so we'll do that. We're playing Geelong, obviously. We'll do that afterwards. The other game is Port Adelaide versus Richmond at Adelaide Oval.
Port Adelaide in that one for me.
Yes, I think Port Adelaide will be too strong. Your game is the Sunday, which for what it's worth, Brisbane, Sydney, 1:10 on a Sunday, which is probably the game of the year. Come on, AFL. I know you scheduled it. A while ago, but wow, you're playing at 1:10. If there was an opportunity to, to switch games ever, this is the time to do it because playing on a Sunday at 1:10 anyway, we'll touch on that. The other two games, the first one is Optus Stadium, Fremantle versus Melbourne. This is a big game. This is a ripping game, actually. Freo Melbourne.
Freo Melbourne at Optus, yeah?
Yes.
Ooh, I think the Dockers at home.
Mate, that's a hard one. I think Freo too, but I'm going Melbourne. So, Brado, make sure you tip in Melbourne, even though I think Freo. I do want to give them their due rewards for their performance. They played, obviously played Essendon with no Max Gawn, which we said last week, probably the most important player to a team in the AFL. And obviously Petrarca's out, and they won in good fashion and played some good footy. So, that's good to see from a Melbourne perspective. I do think Freo, as you said. And the last game of the round, Carlton versus North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium.
The Blues.
Carlton have lost 2 in a row. I mean, it'd be, I'll just go North, whatever. I said North, Brado, so I'm going North, even though I genuinely think Carlton. Cannot wait to be down by 50 at the end of this tipping. Our games. So I'll touch on mine. GMHBA Stadium, 7:30 against Geelong, Saturday night. This is a ripper.
Big game.
Cannot wait for this. This is a massive game for us. And obviously Geelong as well. They're right in the hunt for the top 4. Obviously, off the back of this round's performance against Carlton, really looking forward to this. I feel like the guys are in a really good headspace and, being able to watch some vision and edits today of how we play and our brand. And as I touched on before, without repeating myself, it's nice to know that, when you do play to your system and how you want to play it, we can get wins the way we did on the weekend. So best believe that's going to be the mindset going into this game. We're not silly in saying Geelong are one of the probably top 3 to 4 informed teams of the competition at the moment. Not sure how many games they've won in a row, but feels like they've won quite a bit on the road. So had another extremely impressive performance against Collingwood on Friday. We've played them as well this year up in Gather Round in Adelaide, which was a really close game. They were ultimately too strong for us. So, really looking forward to it. Got to be able to stop, the way they want to move the footy, which is chip mark, once they get into attacking position to be able to really take you on. So it's going to be a ripper, mate. Cannot wait for it. We haven't played a Saturday night game in a while, or a night game in general in a while. So really looking forward to it.
Are you going to get many back this week? You probably don't know yet, but there's a chance.
No. I think there is. I think Nordy obviously was out with concussion, so the mandatory 12 days. So I think he's in line to play. I'm very confident I'll play. I think there's a couple others that are in line to potentially play. Obviously, Liam Jones is touch and go. There's James O'Donnell's, I think, touch and go. So might get a few players back this week. But, other than that, it's exciting.
It is. Talking about Gather Round, you boys played a couple of, or there was a few roles going around on the night, like Westy went to Tom Stewart. Do you think that's something that you review and you go, righto, that worked, let's do it again? Or they'll probably scout it and be like, they did this to us last time. Like, how do you approach those kind of situations? Yeah,
it's a good question. I think, it depends if you talk particularly about Tom Stewart. I think depends on where he plays. He's been playing a lot of midfield, centre bounce, around the ball stuff, so that might be a little bit hard. But, I think one of the things that our forwards do really well, I'm mentioning Riley West, I think Cody Waitman as well on the weekend was a massive in for us. He provided that energy, and a lot of people don't see the stuff he does off ball. And he played quite a sacrificial role in a couple of plays in the second half where he went and nullified Jacob Wiedering and tried to stop him from taking intercept marks because he was dominating in the air early on. And a lot of our forwards take onus in that, and they do it off the back of them wanting to do it. So I guess to answer your question, it would be probably one of those ones where we'll just suck and see how the game's going, and if there's players that are hurting us behind the ball, potentially getting someone onto them, whatever it may be. So, we haven't really previewed the Cats yet, but I reckon we'll look at a bit of vision from the Gather Round and look at how they want to move the footy and where we can stop them. Because, as I said, if they get a chance to move, they want to and get the ball in the hands of guys like Ryan Myers and Close and even Stengel up and around the ground, Max Holmes, these guys, they're going to really, really cut you up. So we can't allow that. And hopefully, off the back of our pressure and our willingness to want to defend, go a long way to us winning.
Yep. I know we used to go down to Geelong the day before. Is that something that happens this year, or it is?
I actually don't know. I think we will. I actually don't know. That's usually something we do. So I think being a 7:30 game, we probably just travel down the day of. I think.
You stay at the Torquay Sands or whatever it was called. It was beautiful down there.
Torquay is beautiful, isn't it?
This time of year it'd be nice and cold though. That's all I got for you, mate. We'll get into our game. So
all good, mate.
Yeah, we've obviously got the Swans. We've got the Swans on Sunday at 1:00, which will be a massive game. We're really excited about the opportunity to play against, what people think are the best team in the competition, and rightly so, because they have played such good footy to date and had a couple of losses over the last couple of weeks. But other than that, they've been, ultra impressive. So we're going to have to beat our very best. I know that all the boys are excited. Even straight after the game last week, it was all about Sydney and what we can bring. So hopefully we get Chuck's available, Charlie Cameron's available, and we can get him out there and get him in amongst it. But if not, I'm sure the next guy is going to be ready to step up. Yeah,
it must be exciting. I mean, as I said, and again, I'm going to say it again, AFL. This is a unbelievable game that's played at 1:10 on a Sunday. It must be exciting, now that you've won 6 in a row. You're coming up against the premiership favourite. This is the team to beat. We all know that, and the AFL wider community knows that. It must be exciting to now see, really test yourselves against the best and see how you guys match up and how you go.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's something that we've been looking forward to for quite some time. I think everyone feeds on, what it's like across the competition when there's a team that's like up there and they're up there by, 2 or 3 wins. They just get them. Like, you just feel like you want to get them. You want to play against them. You want to test yourselves against the best. So that's the way that we feel. It's going to be a huge challenge, but we're looking forward to hopefully packing out the Gabba on Sunday afternoon and putting on a show.
Mate, I guess another question would be, I've got no doubt in the world there's going to be some kind of negating role on one of their star midfielders, and that's probably maybe your responsibility or maybe Jared Berry's responsibility, whoever it may be. We spoke last week about who North should tag, and obviously their normal tagger, Will Phillips, didn't play, and Chad Warner comes out and has 31 and kicks 3. Goulden has 41, and then now Chucky Isaac Heaney, who's obviously back from the suspension. What would you reckon there'll be a plan there? Will you find yourself on someone, or what do you reckon is going to happen?
Oh, probably at some point I'll have to go to one of them if they get off the chain, but. I mean, they bat so deep in there that it's hard to just go to one, because then the other one will get off the chain. So I personally think they might do something to Lockie Neal or someone like Zorks. So there's going to be a bit of negating potentially on both sides. But I haven't been told or given a message yet, to be honest, mate. So we'll see when that happens, if it happens. Otherwise, hopefully I can just go out there and, play the way that we want to and make it all about us and just play our best footy.
And it is something I cannot wait to watch. It's going to be a ripping game. It's, as I said, probably the game of the year so far. So good luck to you, mate. I'll be cheering hard.
Thank you, mate. I look forward to it.
Anything else from the round? That's here we go. Lions learn fate. This will be interesting. Ooh, not entirely.
What is it?
Charlie Cameron will miss Brisbane's next 3 matches after failing to overturn his 3-game suspension. Interesting.
Wow.
We'll see what happens post that. You're a little bit flustered there, I can tell, by the news of obviously Charlie Cameron, which is not ideal. Well, we'll give some love. We'll give some love to a player. You can start, mate, because I think you already said you're going to give it to Riley West, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm giving it to Westy or Jamara. I'll give it to both of those boys. I just thought they were massive in the game against the Blues, and some will talk about it, some won't. But Westy's stuff that he does without the ball, just competes. He's a competitive beast, Westy, and we all, I love playing with him because you knew what you're going to get from him every single week. And I just think he's going from strength to strength this year too. Like, he's really improved his game, kicking goals, which is huge for him. And Jamara, on the other hand, I feel like he's doing exactly the same thing. The interesting thing for me with Mara is I I feel like he plays better when he's the man. When Naughty's not in the team, he wants to step up and be the focal point up forward, and he just shoulders that responsibility really well. So those two guys for me were really good on the weekend, and I want to give them some love.
I love it, mate. And I think that's only natural for a lot of, look at a lot of great forwards in their time. Like you see when they're sharing that, with someone else, it's, they don't necessarily dominate the game. But you are right. When we need him to step up, he has historically stepped up quite a bit. So, yeah, very proud of his performance, and I love the fact that you're giving my teammates some love, which is great. My player I'm going to give some love to this isn't from a performance point of view where it's like he's dominating, because it was actually, I think, his first game back, and he played as a sub and came on, and it's Riley Thilthorpe from Adelaide.
Yep.
Which, for what it's worth, have you seen the size of him from when he first got drafted?
I've seen a few pictures getting around, like what he looked like when he was drafted.
Yes.
And then even what he looked like last year. Last year, he looked like. Yeah. And then now, he's just gone, I'm just going to get massive in the gym.
I would love to see, if he listens to our podcast, I would love for him to send in what his bench press is, what his squat testing is, what all of his testing is, because he's a monster. And going off how he looks and the this cameo that he had, he came on and kicked 2 goals. He's going to be a superstar. And, people forget he was picked 2 or 3 behind Mara. There was a lot of raps on him, and, he's been hit with quite a few injuries, and the fact that he was able to come out and play, and as I said, I think it was his first game after a while. It's great to see, and I love seeing that. I hope he has a great career. I think he's going to be a star. So it was good to see, and I love seeing firstly the pride he showed and how proud he was that he kicked the goal and the celebration that he gave, and then secondly, his teammates getting around him. So he's my guy I want to give some love to.
Love it. All right, now on to our big segment, the Brookes Bloom of the week. And thanks to Brooke for all her support. We really appreciate it, as we say all the time. But, we'll get on to that. If anyone needs their backyard done, make sure you hit up Brooke, as always. Yes. But, who's your Brookes Bloom of the week, mate?
Well, mate, it would be remiss of me if I didn't go my daughter. The reason why is because she did the coin toss pre-game, and Kimmy didn't know. And it was the cutest thing I've ever seen. It melted my heart. And, it was just cool as to see. It's something that she will always remember for the rest of her life, and she's at a good age to remember it. So that's my Bloom of the week.
I like it. Mine is actually Travis Boak. He's a bit of a different one. So he's gone 0 from 13 attempts this year, shots on goal, and he finally kicked one on the weekend. So he's mine this week. I know that he's a legend of a bloke.
He is.
Even better, one of the greats of the game, to be honest. He's played a lot of footy, and we always talk about him being one of the best. So this week, though, I'm giving him a bit of a flick on the wrist because he's missed 13 shots at goal and finally got one. So he's my Bloom of the week.
I love it, man. He's someone that we both admire, and I admire him. We've touched on that quite a bit. So well done, Boki.
Absolutely.
That's it for our normal stuff we do throughout our episode. Actually, have you watched the Receivers documentary on Netflix?
About halfway through. I'm loving it. I watched it on the way back from Perth. It was just, I was glued. Mate, I was glued.
It is the best. And you know what's the best? Other than Derrick Henry being my favourite player in the NFL, my 2 other favourite players, genuinely, without this coming on, are JJ and Devontae Adams. I'm massive fans of them, always have been. And now that they're actually on a documentary and you get to see them, what they're like and how they are and their persona, it's unbelievable. I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the great documentaries.
I'll tell you what, George Kittle, he's a different beast, that bloke, isn't he?
Mate, Kimmy, so she obviously doesn't really watch NFL. She's not she gets annoyed with me, the amount of NFL that I watch. But if only I could find this message. I told her to watch the Receivers, and she said something about Kittle. That's it. All it says was Kittle, love him, ha, ha, ha. And I was just like, why? Because of his energy. She's like, yep, his energy is just unbelievable. He's so... he's always just so up and about. He's just someone that you'd want to be around all the time. And regardless of how you're going or how he's going, it just seems like he's, just the same the whole time round.
And he gets around his teammates too, like gets around Brock Purdy when he throws a pick or whatever it is. Like it's very good insight. I love it.
It makes me think, I already know the answer to this. Would you, like if the AFL came down and said, we're going to follow
100%.
10 players around, would you be one of them? Would you love that?
Yep. Love it. I reckon it'd be sick.
I would too,
So if anyone
mate.
out there wants to do it, hit me up.
I would too,
So if anyone
mate.
out there wants to do it, hit me up.
Maybe you and I can do it next year where
Netflix, hit us up.
Yep.
We're ready.
We have our season get followed, and obviously you've got your own camera crew and whatnot. I've got my own. Oh, mate, that'd be funny. It would have been funny for our game when we played against each other.
Yeah, and you like calling me and being like not saying anything.
But I love you. I love you.
I know.
Gifts,
love it.
the prizes, mate.
All right, no. Oh, you forgot my little segment first. All right, so I got a funny one this week because it is quite funny. Today at lunch, we're sitting there and Zach Bailey's telling us, or there's a bit of a rumor going around about Zach. Apparently, after we win, right, you get free grilled burgers if you're a Lions member. So Zach Bailey and his girlfriend go down to Grilled after we win on a Monday night. So tonight they'll be down at Grilled Burger, and it just brought into my mind. I was like, you know how they do that Hungry Jacks thing in the NBL if you miss 2 free throws? Do you think that players take up this option, or is this just a random thing that happens that Zach and his girlfriend are doing?
I think it's pretty random. I think Zach would probably be the only one doing it in the AFL or in sport, but it is a good question. No, I don't think it's off the bat. I more think because, say, it is Hungry Jacks, there probably can't be stuff going there. But if they actually are at Hungry Jacks and they're like, oh, you play for so-and-so, you've got a free burger, they'd be like, oh, yeah, no worries. But I don't think anyone openly goes out and seeks it. So the fact that Zach's doing it is pretty funny.
It's funny, as we were talking about today. I was there with like Cam Rayner and Huey and obviously Zach, and we were talking about it, and we were like, I said, I'm going to bring it up on the potty and see what and he said to me, I can't wait to hear what Adam says. So I need to tell him what you say.
I just want to understand. So you guys get burgers, right, from Grilled, and it's for free?
Yep.
If you guys win the game?
Yeah. So on a Monday, Grilled give away free burgers if you're a Lions member or something like that.
And
so you've got to walk up to the counter. Member? So we figured this out today. So you've got to the counter, and his girlfriend, walks up. So he doesn't do it. He follows her into the shop. You're meant to eat in. He says you're meant to eat in. He follows her into the shop. She goes to the counter and shows the membership.
That is hilarious.
They don't know who he is, clearly, because they would have said something by now. But he sits there and eats his free grilled burger on a Monday night. Oh, my
goodness. You know what? I applaud you, Zach. I actually applaud you now that I understand. Well done. That is cheating the system.
It's funny as.
Great job. That is elite by you.
It's funny.
You know what? Come to think of it, because I'm a big Grilled fan, and if I'm going to Grilled, I'm getting the Simon Says, which is the great burger there. I would probably do the same thing.
Would ya?
Well, now that I totally understand, but I guess a little bit different here in Melbourne because, people, obviously probably would know who I was.
Ya.
So I'd have to get one of my mates to do it. Jordan Agoe, get it right, mate. I'd have to get one of my mates to do it, but it's pretty good. I'll tell you what, though, if Guzmez and Gomez was a sponsor and they were doing that, mate, I'd be there every day. Oh, Guzmez and Gomez is the GOAT.
Yeah.
Actually,
I love it. That's all I got.
I did want to say, I've got this, I was going to mention this on the potty. This bracelet was a gift. I know you can't see that, but the bracelet says Ads and Dunks, and it has Bulldogs colours and Brisbane Lions colours. And it was a girl in the crowd stopped me as I was running in from my warm-up and said, I've got a bracelet for you, and it's that. So it's pretty cool, mate. So I'll try and get – I know she'll be listening to the potty. So next game I play in Melbourne, make sure you come to the fence and give us one because I'll give it to Joshy.
Like it. We didn't have a challenge last week, actually.
Nah, we
because
did.
We
did. Couldn't be stuffed.
Yeah,
Is
we
that
did
why?
something different. I don't know. I can't remember. But I'm going to give one out because this person has realised that we didn't have a challenge this week and wrote it on their comment on our YouTube. So Rebs89, no challenge for us this week. In that case, setting myself the challenge of predicting Dogs by 60 and Dunks runs right through Reed and kicks a beauty dead centre of the sticks. So because he got the Dogs tip right, or he or she, I don't know if it's he or she, and got the making goal through the middle of the sticks, we'll give him a prize.
Like it. I would have liked to have seen the fend off and goal from 60. That would have been pretty cool, but we'll save that for another time. But no, well done. Thank you for sending that in. Love it. But it's been a great episode, mate. Well done.
It sure has, mate. Is there any challenge you want to set this week for our great supporters?
What challenge could we set in? What have we spoken about? Because we love Brooke and we always do our bloom of the week, we actually haven't ever asked our fans to send in what their Brookes Bloom of the week could be. So maybe they just send in their Brookes Bloom of the week, and it could be anything, as you say, as we both say. So I'll make that the challenge.
Done deal. Signed, sealed, delivered.
Okay, before we let you go, should we bring Brado back in?
Yes, let's bring him in.
I'm still here. I'm just coming back through the twos.
Yes.
I've got ads losing the tipping by 7. So I'll come in and I'll say that. And I'll say, Dunks, you have tipped Essendon. I've got you tipping them 3 times over the course of the whole year. And all 3 times you've been correct. They've all been wins.
See.
So you know when
so
to
to
pick
that,
them.
whoever that supporter was wrong.
You know when to pick them. I'll also say that I can confirm the grilled free burger, you got to eat in. So you got to go and eat in.
So Zach has to eat in. So he has to go
eat it in there.
and do it.
Yeah.
Love that, Zach. Well done.
That's so funny.
That is good.
Anyway, that's all I got for you.
Thanks, Brado. Appreciate
thanks, Brado.
it. Good luck this week, Joshy.
Thanks, mate. You too. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We appreciate the support as always, and we'll see you all next week.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at Brookes Blooms, your all-in-one landscaping solution.
Brookes Blooms' 3-step landscaping experience offers a seamless journey from design to construction and ongoing care, ensuring your outdoor space thrives year-round.
Visit brooksblooms.com today to embark on your landscaping journey, where every step is a step towards a vibrant and beautiful outdoor entertaining space.